Ice 513. Can you ask the girls if their son came to them and told them that their girl said, "If you get a paternity test, I'm leaving you"? What would be their advice to their son? That's a good one.
Wait.
Like if she got pregnant.
So he's saying if your son's girl came to him and said, "Hey, you know what? I don't think your test. I'm gonna leave you if you ask me to do a test." What would you say to your son?
Fuck girl, you're finna be single. What the hell?
Let's start here.
Well, I'm sorry. You can ask the girl your son.
So your son is gonna tell his girl. No, actually, well, hold on. If your son was in this issue where like he told her you need a paternity test, but he said I'm gonna leave you, what would you do?
Nigga.
Nigga.
Yeah, like be for real. Like you just put yourself in the fucking hole. Like, oh, I'm gonna leave you because a secure man don't give a shit. Like realistically, if you know you got nothing to hide, like what is you scared for? Like you only doing the most if you have something to hide in the first place. You're just taking that extra step and be like, oh, you don't trust me. That's where the manipulation and toxicity comes in. You don't trust me. Like you think that like I was like bullshit basically.
Okay.
Yeah, he gotta leave because that's not his son. Like, why she's scared of like him taking the paternity test? Like that, she
That's
a hoe.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you say something like that, like aren't you kind of like proving that you already did something wrong? Like you wouldn't say it otherwise, you know?
So you wouldn't have a problem with it yourself?
Me, I wouldn't ask that. I mean,
but let's say your boyfriend asked you to do it.
Yeah.
Would you have a problem with it?
What if?
No.
No?
You sure?
So you sound kind of worried.
No, he's not nervous.
Okay. What about you?
I wouldn't have an issue taking a paternity test.
Forget about it.
You would?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I would take it and then I'd be like, told you it's your kid.
What would you tell your son?
Your
Would you tell him
son
to stay?
Girls telling him,
Yeah.
if you ask me that, I'm going to leave.
Oh, well, bye. Have fun raising the kid by yourself.
All right, so
Okay.
leave. Okay.
No.
For you?
Turn into Goku.
I would take the paternity test.
No, but what would you tell your son in this scenario that his girl gave him the ultimatum? Like, if you take if I take the paternity test, I'm leaving you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
What about you? Leave.
Yeah, leave.
Yeah. Okay. Are the rest of you guys say agree? Leave.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't
Okay.
think so.
You don't think you should leave? Okay.
I think a relationship is
To the mic.
more.
To the mic.
I think a relationship is about emotions and a bond and a connection. And if the girl really feels like the guy is for him, in this case my son, and their relationship is above and beyond of who had sex with who and who is the real father of the kid, biological father, then I believe that it should be like that.
So you think
It
that
might-
he should be willing to take care of somebody else's kid, possibly?
Yes, I do
Oh,
think
wow.
that.
No.
That
Because
What age range are we speaking here?
like a grown man taking care of another grown man's
No.
kid, possibly.
Like, are we
Just
talking
because he
about
loves
like?
this woman.
Are we talking about like in our like
And she was
early
in-
adulthood, like early 20s, or are you talking about like later in life when you're settled?
I don't care really about the age range. I think that it doesn't really.
So you would stay
Like
with your
it's
man if
more-
he cheated?
Yes, I would.
Why?
Okay.
Because our connection is an emotional bond, and it's not really about whether who he sleeps
So,
with.
are you okay with your man being emotionally connected to you, and he's telling you all this great shit like, "I love you, I'll never leave you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you," but he's telling another bitch the same script? Because then,
If it's a script, if I feel like it's personal to me,
how?
if I
what
feel
makes it
like-
personal to you? Like he says he likes your eyes or something.
maybe if he
So-
likes the way I think, if he likes the way just my mind works. then I
But you
feel
wanna
like
know
it's
what's crazy,
beautiful and
though?
That's
personal.
crazy.
You know what's crazy? Pimps say the same shit to bro. Everyone knows how to get into a woman's head. Like,
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying? That's
Not
how.
everyone, but
Not
I see
everyone.
what you, I see what you
Well,
mean
you know what I
there.
mean? Like,
Majority.
Yeah.
guys so commonly know what girls want. They want that emotional security. They want to know, like, oh, you're always gonna be here for me, and you're gonna be here when I have a shoulder to cry on. Like,
Yo,
anybody can do that shit.
Yo, who hurt you?
Holy shit!
Another thing is being
Yo,
recognized.
Hey, it's been
Well,
facts,
I mean,
man.
hold on. We just glossed over something really important. So, okay, just so I make sure I understand this correct. You're okay with your potential daughter-in-law cheating on your son?
Yes, I am. If I really do believe that their
least he's
connection and their
consistent.
relationship
Okay.
is more
Oh.
than that.
Okay.
If they've been together for years, for
Oh.
example.
Wait,
What if, okay, so in this instance, right? So
That's not
clearly, if the son is saying, "I want you to take a paternity test," it clearly matters to him that he is the father of the child, which is why he's willing to risk the relationship to
That's
ask it.
true.
Would you still have that same mindset? Like, hey, you should still raise that kid even though it's not yours?
Yes, I would still say that to my son because I would
Well,
think that
okay.
he would also need a
makes you,
second
hold on,
look on
let's
that.
not attack her. What makes you think that that's like the solution to the situation is to accept infidelity, accept raising a child, which is a big responsibility, by the way, that you're on the hook for financially, emotionally, etc. What makes you think that, like, where does that mindset come from?
If my son, for example, has always dreamt of raising a kid with the perfect partner.
She ain't perfect.
That's subjective. That's subjective.
Maybe in every other
To
relationship.
you,
Let's
she's not
let's let her
perfect.
fully
Yeah, all right.
speak and get her thought out.
Oh.
Please, go ahead.
Come on.
And maybe the girl is really more to him, and maybe I see that the relationship is more than that, and he should take into consideration that maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it to raise another man's child.
I think what she means is, sorry if I cut you off. I think what she means is she doesn't believe in like physical cheating, but she believes in emotional cheating. So if you're emotionally only connected to one person, but you're physically with others, I think that's what she's okay with.
Well,
So-
no, she just kind of covered that. She
Well,
said,
well, hold on.
yeah, still.
Does it matter to you if it's physical or emotional or no?
I mean, yes, it does. And relationships can be both monogamous and not. And I would
but
also,
do you care that it's emotional? Like,
in the case, I believe that the question just, assumed that the relationship between them was monogamous.
yeah.
And in that case, also, I do feel like my son should really consider taking a paternity test
So
and staying with the woman. And I would give him
regardless
that
of if
advice.
the child's his or not.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: you said that emotional cheating is worse, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's go a step further. Wouldn't it be fair to say that for a woman to cheat on her man, she needs to be emotionally invested in the other individual to a significant degree?
Yes.
Okay, so wouldn't that be one of the highest forms of treachery and betrayal? When we know that for men it's just strictly physical, but for women they need a physical component and an emotional component, which kind of contradicts what you said.
How does it contradict what I said?
Because you're saying that in one end you're saying, yeah, emotional cheating is not acceptable. But what I'm arguing is that when women cheat, it must be emotional to a significant degree because women are emotional lovers more generally than men are. So for a woman, let me make it simple. The threshold for a woman to cheat, right, requires emotional investment. Versus for men, we don't need emotional investment. Oh, is she hot? I'll do it. For women, they need cognitive stimulation. They need emotional stimulation. They need to feel a certain way. So that's why cheating for women has been generally unacceptable for, since the beginning of time. Because for women, it's harder for them to cheat than it is for men in general.
Maybe I just don't really agree with that. I see sex as separate to what emotions are to both genders. And I don't think it just applies to men.
But for women in general, emotions always tie into sex.
Not always. I'm a woman.
Okay, hold on.
Right.
Okay. So do you just fuck anybody then?
I'm a female and I don't feel like I need to have an emotional connection with a person.
But
when
do
I'm
you
intimate
just fuck
with them.
anybody though, is my question.
I don't need an emotional connection for that.
That means you're popping pussy.
Oh,
Why you have to put it like that?
No,
Sorry.
really, I'm
Don't
not
try to
serious.
devalue her as a woman
Yeah.
though. Like if she wants to do that,
It's not
that's
devaluing. It's like you can pop your pussy for your husband. Like that's just this is slang term.
Well, let me
That's
ask
all it
let me
is.
ask this then. Okay, so you're okay with just having casual sex then? Okay. What about the rest of the women on the panel? Do you need some type of emotional investment before you have sex with a guy in general?
Yes, definitely.
Can we get a raise of hands just to show? Okay, so that's a majority of women. So you might be an outlier. You might not need it. But what I'm saying in general is that the reason why cheating for women is generally unacceptable is because it takes more of a threshold for a woman to have sex
That's facts.
in general.
You should